1. Pre-Russell. The pre-Russell era marks the foundational years of professional basketball in America, spanning from 1946, when the Basketball Association of America (BAA) was founded, to the rise of Bill Russell in 1957. This period was defined by experimentation, adaptation, and the struggle to establish basketball as a major professional sport in a nation dominated by baseball, boxing, and college athletics. Basketball in this era was markedly different from the modern game. Scoring was low. Most teams averaged fewer than 80 points per game, and the pace was deliberate and methodical. Offenses relied heavily on set plays, structured passing, and teamwork rather than athletic explosiveness. The jump shot was still emerging as a reliable scoring tool, while dribbling and passing were executed in rigid, almost mechanical patterns. Coaches emphasized fundamentals, positioning, and defensive discipline, often prioritizing controlling the tempo over flashy scoring runs. George Mikan was the era's defining figure. At 6'10", his combination of size, skill, and mobility transformed the center position. Mikan dominated the paint with his hook shot, rebounding, and defensive awareness, leading the Minneapolis Lakers to multiple championships and setting the standard for future big men. His dominance even forced rule changes, including the widening of the lane, the Mikan rule, and the implementation of goaltending regulations. Joe Fulks, often called the basketball bomber, popularized the jump shot and became one of the league's first prolific scorers. Other notable figures like Dolph Schayes and Paul Arizin contributed to shaping the style of play, blending finesse, athleticism, and strategic execution. Team strategies and style of play. Teams operated within a conservative, half-court-oriented system. Scoring drives were often meticulously planned, emphasizing spacing, passing, and player movement to create high-percentage shots. Defensively, teams prioritized containment, boxing out, and rebounding to limit second-chance points. Fast breaks were rare, as most offenses were designed to methodically work for an open shot. Geography and logistics. Most teams were concentrated in the Northeast and Midwest, which influenced the style and travel of the league. Players often endured grueling bus trips, small arenas, and developing fan bases. National attention was limited, and media coverage favored college programs and established sports like baseball, which made NBA expansion and popularity a slow process. Cultural and social impact. This era was pivotal for integration. Pioneers like Earl Lloyd, Chuck Cooper, and Nat Sweetwater Clifton broke racial barriers in professional basketball, gradually making the league more inclusive. The NBA also had to compete for legitimacy against college basketball, showing that professional teams could produce star power, exciting games, and dedicated fans. Legacy. The pre-Russell era was about laying foundations. Teams experimented with systems, players pushed the limits of their skills, and the league began its evolution into a major sport. While the era lacked sustained dynasties, global media coverage, or superstar rivalries, it was the necessary bridge to the dominant, tactical, and star-driven NBA that would emerge in the Russell era. Second, Wilt-Russell era. The Wilt-Russell era represents the NBA's first true golden age, spanning from the emergence of Bill Russell in 1957 to Wilt Chamberlain's final seasons in the late 1960s. This period was defined by the rise of superstar centers, legendary rivalries, dynastic Celtics teams, record-breaking performances, and the evolution of strategy and media coverage. Bill Russell, the ultimate defensive genius, Russell redefined basketball with his shot blocking, rebounding, and team-oriented mentality. He prioritized winning over individual stats, orchestrating the Boston Celtics dynasty that claimed 11 championships in 13 seasons. Russell's defensive intelligence and ability to lead without scoring made him a model for team-first excellence. Wilt Chamberlain. In contrast, Chamberlain was the epitome of individual dominance. Standing 7 feet 1 inch with extraordinary athleticism, Wilt shattered scoring and rebounding records, including his historic 100-point game in 1962. While Russell embodied defense and teamwork, Wilt represented the offensive juggernaut and record-breaking potential that pushed the league to new heights. Team dynamics. The Celtics dominated through depth, teamwork, and strategic coaching under Red Auerbach. Auerbach's innovative fast-break offense, emphasis on passing, and ability to maximize Russell's defensive prowess made Boston a nearly unstoppable force. Meanwhile, teams with Wilt focused on building offenses around his scoring ability, though often without the supporting cast that could consistently challenge Boston. Strategy and style. This era saw the emergence of the fast break as a legitimate weapon, largely driven by Russell's Celtics. Defense became a central focus, with shot blocking, rebounding, and physical presence changing how offenses approach the paint. The league also witnessed the early evolution of perimeter shooting and mid-range jumpers, though the inside game remained dominant. Cultural and media impact. The Russell Wilt era brought basketball into the national spotlight. Legendary games, remarkable rivalries, and record-breaking performances drew media attention, helping the NBA grow from a regional sport into a nationally recognized league. Socially, Russell broke barriers as the first African-American superstar in a dominant team role, inspiring future generations. Legacy. The Wilt-Russell era cemented the importance of star power, strategy, and dynastic teams. It set the stage for the next generation, where individual athleticism, charisma, and media appeal would elevate the NBA into a global phenomenon. Defensive and offensive philosophies developed during this period still influence modern basketball strategy. 3. Welcome Kareem era. The Welcome Kareem era began with the arrival of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most dominant and technically proficient players in NBA history. Spanning roughly from 1969, when Kareem, then Lou Alcindor, entered the league, to the mid-1980s, this era witnessed a blend of individual dominance, team strategy evolution, and the continued growth of the NBA's cultural footprint. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Standing 7 feet 2 inches, Kareem redefined the center position with his legendary skyhook, an unblockable shot that became his signature weapon. Beyond scoring, his basketball IQ, defensive abilities, and leadership made him an all-around force. Kareem's career spanned over 2 decades, during which he won 6 NBA championships, was a 6-time MVP, and became the league's all-time leading scorer. His ability to adapt to multiple team contexts, Milwaukee Bucks, Los Angeles Lakers, showcased his versatility and influence on team dynamics. Team dynasties, Milwaukee Bucks. With Kareem leading the way and Oscar Robertson orchestrating the offense, the Bucks claimed their first championship in 1971. Kareem's inside dominance, combined with Robertson's playmaking, created one of the most efficient and potent duos in NBA history. Los Angeles Lakers. Kareem later teamed with Magic Johnson in the early 1980s, forming a dynasty that leveraged fast break offense, perimeter shooting, and Kareem's interior scoring to dominate the league. Style of play. The era balanced dominant big man play with evolving guard roles. Centers like Kareem commanded offenses inside, while guards orchestrated ball movement, shooting, and fast breaks. Teams became more strategic, blending man-to-man defense with zone concepts and emphasizing transitions. Unlike the rigid, methodical pace of the pre-Russell era, the league now saw faster offenses, more scoring, and increasingly entertaining games for fans. Cultural impact. This period marked the NBA's continued rise in visibility and popularity. Kareem was not just a player, but a cultural icon. His advocacy for social issues, combined with his calm demeanor and professionalism, influenced how players approached leadership and public engagement. The NBA's media presence grew, and games were increasingly televised, helping attract a broader fan base. Records and achievements. Kareem's career scoring and longevity records highlighted the era. The Bucks and Lakers dynasties set a standard for balanced, star-centered teams. Individual accolades like MVPs, All-Star appearances, and scoring titles emphasized how the league valued both team success and individual brilliance. Legacy. The Welcome Kareem era blended dominant individual performance with evolving team strategy. It demonstrated that basketball could combine athleticism, skill, and intellect, paving the way for the global, star-driven NBA of the 1980s and 1990s. Kareem's influence remains foundational in teaching big men to combine scoring, defense, and leadership. 4th, Magic Bird era. The Magic Bird era is widely credited with revitalizing the NBA, both competitively and culturally. With the arrival of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, the league entered a period of superstar-driven rivalries, strategic innovation, and mass media appeal. Magic Johnson, known for his exceptional height for a point guard, 6 feet 9 inches. Magic revolutionized the position with his vision, passing, and leadership. His ability to run fast breaks, anticipate defensive rotations, and involve every teammate made him the ultimate team-oriented star. Magic's Showtime Lakers played a high-octane, fast-paced style that combined athleticism, flair, and efficiency. Larry Bird. Bird brought a cerebral, fundamentally sound approach to the game. With a deadly mid-range shot, clutch performances, and relentless competitiveness, Bird led the Boston Celtics to multiple championships. His rivalry with Magic was both personal and symbolic, pitting West Coast flair against East Coast discipline. Team dynamics. Los Angeles Lakers. Showtime Lakers emphasized speed, ball movement, and scoring versatility. Magic orchestrated fast breaks, supported by Kareem's inside dominance and sharpshooters like Byron Scott. Boston Celtics. The Celtics leaned on teamwork, disciplined execution, and balanced scoring, blending Bird's shooting with Robert Parrish's interior presence and Kevin McHale's versatility. Style of play. This era combined athleticism with strategic sophistication. Fast breaks, pick and rolls, and spacing became staples. Defense remained crucial, but the league embraced more dynamic scoring, flashy passes, and highlight reel plays. The NBA began to balance entertainment with competitive intensity, cultural and media impact. The Magic and Bird era coincided with massive growth in television coverage. Their rivalry, charisma, and team success drew millions of viewers, revitalizing a league that had struggled for national attention. Basketball became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring new generations of players and expanding the NBA's footprint globally. Legacy. The era set the standard for star-driven basketball, emphasizing charisma, competitiveness, and team synergy. Magic and Bird's influence reshaped how the NBA marketed its stars, combining athleticism, intelligence, and entertainment to create a blueprint for modern professional basketball. Fifth, Bad Boys era. The Bad Boys era is defined by physicality, toughness, and the rise of defense-first teams that could dominate even in the face of superstar talent. Centered around the Detroit Pistons, this period also overlapped with the early years of Michael Jordan, making it one of the most intense, rivalry-filled times in NBA history, spanning roughly from 1984, with the Pistons' emergence as a defensive powerhouse, to 1993, when the Bulls finally overcame Detroit. This era highlighted the balance between toughness, strategy, and evolving offensive styles. Detroit Pistons, the original Bad Boys. At the heart of this era were the Detroit Pistons, led by Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, and Rick Mahorn. The Pistons earned the nickname Bad Boys for their physical style, psychological games, and unapologetic intimidation tactics on the court. They excelled in defense-first basketball, emphasizing aggressive man-to-man coverage, tough screens, and a relentless mentality that disrupted the rhythm of opposing stars. Isaiah Thomas, the cerebral point guard and floor general, Thomas could orchestrate the offense, control tempo, and still deliver scoring bursts. Joe Dumars. Known for his defensive prowess and quiet efficiency, Dumars could shut down elite scorers while providing consistent offensive contributions. Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, their physical presence in the paint made the Pistons nearly impossible to score against inside. Rodman in particular would later redefine rebounding and defense with unmatched tenacity. Rivalries and key matchups. The era's defining storyline was the Pistons' fierce battles with the Boston Celtics and Chicago Bulls. Detroit's aggressive style was designed to dismantle superstar-driven teams, especially Larry Bird's Celtics. Their mantra, "Defense wins championships," challenged the more finesse-oriented styles of the 1980s and pushed the league toward a more physical, strategic approach. Michael Jordan's early years in Chicago overlapped with the Bad Boys' dominance, creating one of the most memorable rivalries in NBA history. The Bulls repeatedly fell to the Pistons in the playoffs, leading to Jordan famously studying their style, adjusting his approach, and ultimately overcoming Detroit in the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals. These battles were as psychological as they were physical, with Detroit using intimidation, hard fouls, and gamesmanship to gain an edge. Style of play. The Bad Boys era represented a significant shift in how teams approached basketball strategy. While the 1980s had celebrated fast-paced, high-scoring basketball led by Magic Johnson, Bird, and later Jordan, Detroit focused on aggressive defense. Double teaming, trapping, and physical post play became staples. Pace control. The Pistons could slow the game down, frustrating faster, more athletic teams. Team-first offense. While stars like Thomas could shine, scoring was balanced, emphasizing efficient shot selection and minimizing turnovers. Cultural impact. The Bad Boys era left a lasting impression on NBA culture. Detroit's swagger, toughness, and unapologetic approach became a template for teams that valued grit over glamour. The Pistons also showed that championships were possible without relying solely on a single transcendent star, emphasizing strategy, depth, and mental toughness. Media coverage in this era highlighted both Jordan's rise and Detroit's dominance, creating a narrative tension that captivated fans. The league began embracing rivalries and storylines, realizing that basketball was as much about entertainment and narratives as it was about athletic performance. Legacy. The Bad Boys era influenced the league in multiple ways. Defense-first strategy. Teams increasingly prioritized defense as a championship prerequisite. Psychological warfare. Trash talk, intimidation, and gamesmanship became integral parts of high-level play. Pathway for Jordan's dominance. By studying the bad boys, Jordan learned how to elevate his game, ultimately ushering in the Jordan era. The era remains a reminder that basketball success requires more than talent. It requires discipline, toughness, strategy, and mental resilience. 6th, Jordan era. The Jordan era is arguably the most iconic period in NBA history, defined by the rise of Michael Jordan and his transformation of basketball into a global phenomenon. Spanning from his rookie season in 1984 to his final retirement in 2003, including 2 separate comebacks, this era showcased transcendent talent, dynastic dominance, and the NBA's evolution into a media and cultural powerhouse. Michael Jordan, the icon. Michael Jordan redefined what it meant to be a superstar. Standing 6 feet 6 inches, he combined athleticism, skill, competitiveness, and mental toughness. Known for his scoring ability, clutch performances, and defensive tenacity, Jordan could take over games in ways few players ever could. His accolades include 6 NBA championships, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 regular season MVPs, and 14 All-Star appearances. Jordan's influence extended beyond the court. He became a global cultural icon through endorsements, movies, and commercials, most famously his partnership with Nike and the Air Jordan brand. Jordan's charisma, style, and competitive drive inspired a generation of players to strive for greatness. Team dynasties. Chicago Bulls. Under coach Phil Jackson, Jordan led the Bulls to 6 championships in 2 three-peats. 1991 to 1993, 1996 to 1998. The triangle offense maximized Jordan's scoring ability while creating space for teammates like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. Washington Wizards. In his second comeback, 2001 to 2003, Jordan provided leadership and mentorship, proving his enduring skill and professionalism even beyond his prime. Style of play. The Jordan era blended athleticism, skill, and strategy. The league emphasized dynamic scoring. Jordan's mid-range game, acrobatics, and finishing at the rim set new standards. Defense. Jordan was a 9-time All-Defensive first-team selection, proving offense alone wasn't enough. Team synergy. While Jordan was dominant, players like Pippen, Rodman, and Kerr highlighted the importance of complementary roles. Cultural and media impact. This era transformed the NBA into a global entertainment product. Jordan's image, marketability, and success expanded the league's fan base worldwide. Televised games, highlight reels, and storytelling through rivalries elevated basketball's status, inspiring youth programs and international talent pipelines. Legacy. The Jordan era solidified the NBA's global presence, set the benchmark for individual greatness, and highlighted the importance of both skill and mindset. Jordan's influence is still seen today in player branding, media engagement, and the competitive standard expected of elite athletes. 7. Duncan, Shaq, Kobe era. This era is defined by the emergence of Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant, marking a transitional period from Jordan's dominance to a more team-oriented, athletic NBA. Key players. Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. Duncan combined efficiency, defense, and consistency. Leading the San Antonio Spurs, he won 5 championships, emphasizing teamwork and fundamentals over flashiness. Shaquille O'Neal, a dominant center whose size and strength made him unstoppable in the paint. Shaq's tenure with the Lakers, and later Heat, brought multiple championships. Kobe Bryant, known for skill, competitiveness, and work ethic. Kobe's combination with Shaq formed one of the most memorable duos in history. Team dynasty San Antonio Spurs. Duncan's Spurs were built on system basketball, defense, and smart execution. Los Angeles Lakers. Shaq and Kobe created one of the most dominant duos ever, winning 3 consecutive championships, 2000 to 2002, and solidifying Lakers' legacy. Style of play. The era blended post-dominant centers, athletic wings, and perimeter scoring. Teams increasingly relied on pick and rolls, isolation plays, and defensive versatility. Fast breaks remained key, but half-court efficiency was emphasized for playoff success. Cultural impact. Globalization of the NBA accelerated during this period. Players like Duncan, Virgin Islands, Kobe, Italy, USA, and Shaq, USA with global appeal, expanded the league's international reach. The NBA also began leveraging emerging social media and merchandising opportunities. Legacy. This era emphasized balance, individual brilliance, team systems, and international growth. It paved the way for future stars to combine athleticism with strategic intelligence. 8. Big Three era. The Big Three era is characterized by the formation of super teams, where 3 elite players dominate a single roster. This period saw the rise of players like LeBron James, Dwyane Wade, Chris Bosh, and the Miami Heat Big Three, reshaping league dynamics. Key players. LeBron James, a versatile, all-time great, LeBron combined scoring, playmaking, and leadership. Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, complemented LeBron's style, creating one of the most effective trios ever. Team dynasties: Miami Heat, 2010 to 2014. The Big Three led to 4 consecutive finals appearances, winning 2 championships. Other super teams: Oklahoma City Thunder and Golden State Warriors, began experimenting with multi-star rosters. Style of play: emphasis on spacing, three-point shooting, and pace and space offense. Super teams required coordinated defense, rotations, and selflessness to function. Cultural impact: player empowerment became central, with stars having more influence over roster construction. The NBA became a global conversation through social media, creating unprecedented fan engagement. Legacy: the Big Three era set the blueprint for roster flexibility, super team formation, and player-driven decisions, shaping the league's competitive balance. 9th Cavs-Warriors era. This era is defined by the rivalry between LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, led by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Cleveland Cavaliers. Led by LeBron James, the Cavs became perennial Eastern Conference contenders. In 2016, LeBron led Cleveland to an improbable finals comeback from a 3-1 deficit, defeating the Warriors and ending Cleveland's 52-year championship drought. Golden State Warriors revolutionized basketball with three-point shooting, ball movement, and pace. Won 3 championships: 2015, 2017, 2018, with record-breaking regular season success in 2016, 73-9. Style of play: Warriors, Splash Brothers emphasized perimeter shooting and floor spacing. LeBron-led teams relied on versatility, playmaking, and mid-range efficiency. Cultural impact: analytics-driven basketball became mainstream. Player branding and social media presence reached new heights. Legacy: this era represents the modern NBA's blend of analytics, superstars, and style of play evolution, setting the stage for the current league. 10th, balance of power era. The balance of power era reflects a highly competitive, superstar-driven league, with no single team dominating consistently. Key features: super teams are temporary. Multiple teams compete for championships. Star players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry dominate, but parity is high. Style of play: pace and space, positionless basketball, emphasis on three-point shooting. Teams balance offense and defense, with switching defenses and versatile lineups. Cultural impact: social media and streaming have made the NBA more global than ever. Player activism, branding, and influence on pop culture are unprecedented. Legacy: the balance of power era shows a league defined by versatility, strategic depth, and parity, highlighting the evolution of basketball into a global, entertainment-driven, highly competitive sport. 11th, post-Big Three evolution. After the Big Three era, the NBA entered a period of transition and experimentation. Super teams were still forming, but parity began returning, forcing players and teams to adapt to a more fluid, competitive environment. Key features: transition from single dominant trios to multi-star rosters distributed across several teams. Teams like the Houston Rockets with James Harden and Chris Paul, and the Golden State Warriors adding Kevin Durant, redefined strategic collaboration and offensive firepower. Star players: Kevin Durant combined scoring efficiency with championship experience, redefining the forward position. James Harden revolutionized isolation plays and step-back three-pointers as a primary weapon. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson continued to dominate with perimeter shooting and floor spacing, emphasizing team-oriented motion offense. Style of play: the era emphasized analytics-driven basketball, with heavy reliance on three-pointers, spacing, and pace. Positionless basketball became mainstream, with versatile forwards and guards switching defensively and contributing across multiple positions. Cultural impact: players gained unprecedented influence over team construction and free agency decisions. Social media, streaming platforms, and international markets allowed players and teams to build brands globally. Legacy: the post-Big Three evolution era highlighted the league's adaptability, showing that dominance could come from strategic roster construction, advanced analytics, and elite skill rather than single-player brilliance. It set the stage for the modern NBA's competitive balance. 12th, modern superteam era. 2019 to present expansion. Following the balance of power era, the NBA entered a phase of superstar aggregation, blending global talent with advanced analytics to form next-generation super teams. Key features: teams are constructed with multiple stars and deep benches, creating year-to-year championship contenders. Emphasis on versatility, three-point shooting, and defensive switching allows small ball lineups to compete against traditional big men strategies. Star players: Giannis Antetokounmpo, dominates as a versatile forward with athleticism and skill, leading the Milwaukee Bucks to recent success. Luka Doncic, young phenom combining scoring, playmaking, and clutch performances, redefining the point forward role. Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry continue to shape modern offensive strategies through scoring efficiency and spacing. Style of play: high-speed, positionless basketball, with emphasis on three-point efficiency, spacing, and switch-heavy defenses. Teams rely on analytical insights to optimize lineups and play calling. Cultural impact: the NBA has become fully global, with international superstars impacting strategy and style. Social activism, branding, and cultural influence of players have reached unprecedented levels, making them global icons beyond the court. Legacy: the modern superteam era represents the culmination of decades of evolution, from the foundational pre-Russell years to globalized, analytics-driven superstar basketball. It highlights the league's capacity for innovation, competitive balance, and cultural influence in the 21st century.